Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So last night we had a windstorm and lost power. So I thought, what more perfect of a video than 10 ways to help you prepare for a power outage. Power outages can happen at a moment's notice, whether it's from weather or from external circumstances like somebody crashing into a pole. It's always good to be prepared, so in this video, we're going to cover 5 tips on things you can do before a power outage to be prepared, and then 5 tips you can do during a power outage to remain calm and stay safe. Throughout this video, you're going to see clips sprinkled in of me using tips that I'm about to give you in my power outage last night, so I know that they work. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Today we're gonna go over what to do when you lose power. So the first thing on our list is gonna be something that everybody should have at home, but not a lot of people do. And that's gonna be extra food and water. I keep about 30 to 40 gallons of extra water at all times. Canned goods are always great to have in the house because they're quick and they're easy to make. Another great thing about canned goods is they're usually fully cooked. So that means they're ready to eat before you heat them up. So worst case scenario, you could eat this if you had no source of heat. A lot of people overlook food and water when they're getting ready for an emergency. I don't know why. I think it might be because we eat it and drink it every day. We take it for granted. But it's something that goes overlooked on a lot of people's lists because they're just so used to it being in abundance and having it. So it's very important to have water and food enough stocked up for, I would say, at least a week for every member in your family at all times, regardless of if you're expecting a storm to come or not. Now, come on, let's get out of this basement. I'll show you guys item number 2. The second thing you're going to want to make sure you have during a power outage is plenty of flashlights. But not all flashlights are created equal, as I'm about to demonstrate. A flashlight like this may seem like an obvious pick for how much light it will produce, but you need to keep in mind this flashlight is only going to run for less than an hour. So is less than an hour of light going to be enough to get you through your power outage? Probably not. Flashlights like this one that may not produce as much light but last for hours on end may be a better option. Any sort of headlamp is a great choice because it gives you the option of having both your hands free to still work on things in the dark. One thing to look out for is flashlights that are rechargeable. Although this is my favorite flashlight and lasts just as long as any of the other flashlights, if you have no way to recharge it because the power's out, this flashlight is as good as a paperweight. Always make sure that the flashlights you're relying on for a power outage, either 1, take batteries, or 2, have some sort of alternate charging method via either solar or a crank charge. Keep in mind, if it's nighttime and you're out of power, which is when you'll likely need a flashlight, there may not be solar as an option to charge it. So keep your flashlights charged. I'm throwing this in as a sub point. It's probably a good idea to make sure your phone or any other electronic devices that you might need during an emergency are charged up before the power goes out as well. Especially your phone in case you need to make a phone call in an emergency situation. And don't forget your extra batteries. Flashlights and some extra batteries, definitely essential. I'm wearing a headlamp. And don't forget that any flashlight, no matter how small, can still make a big difference if it's all that you have. The third item on our list is going to be something that I hope most people have, and that is a basic first aid kit. But you're going to want to make sure you have some sort of medical tape, some gauze, some bandages, some sort of alcohol or antiseptic pads to clean your hands before treating a wound. And you'll want some sort of antibiotic ointment. In my first aid kit, I use these petroleum zero form dressing. You can see it already comes impregnated with petroleum jelly. So you can pull these out. This is half of one. They come 8 inches long. I usually use half. And then if you need it wider, you can just fold it over on itself like this. Put it on your cut. You can use multiple if you need. 1 by 8 inch. This is a 5x9 inch. Got a couple more 5x9 inches in there. These are really good, and it's what the hospital uses after you get stitches, or sometimes even before you get stitches. A lot of people might not see the importance in having a first aid kit, but just imagine the store near you has no generator, or it's after their business hours, and a family member you love has a seemingly insignificant injury, but without the proper medical equipment to clean and cover it, it could turn into a much bigger problem. Well, the fourth item on our list that you should have before a power outage is candles. And while regular candles will work great, a better alternative is safety candles. These safety candles are specifically designed for an emergency, and there's a couple things about them that make them a lot better for such situations. Some of the benefits to these emergency candles over traditional candles is, one, the fact that they're unscented. So if you have a bunch of candles going, it's not going to smell like a Bath and Body Works inside your house with pineapple passion mixing with autumn breeze and whatnot. A second benefit to these candles is that they're much easier to pick up and move around than a traditional candle where the whole outside glass gets hot as well. These are very easy to pick up, walk around the house with to get light in whatever area that you may need it at that time. The third thing about these candles that makes them a fantastic option to have in a power outage is the fact that they're long burning. Now, a lot of your traditional candles will burn for multiple hours, but these safety candles are specifically designed to burn for extended periods of time to provide you light in an emergency. These ones we burned for about 3 or 4 hours last night, and you can see this one still looks like a brand new candle. I believe this is a 12-hour candle. This is a 12-hour candle. I believe this is an 8-hour candle. And they do come in different sizes. So this candle, when it started, was only about this tall. And this candle was about this tall. Safety candles are great because they provide a warm, natural light, and 2 or 3 well-placed candles can light up a room more than most flashlights can that only have a single point of light. Safety candles are definitely an invaluable asset to have in any power outage. They provide heat, they provide light. You could feasibly cook off of it if you absolutely needed to. It would definitely heat up a can of soup. And don't be discouraged if you don't have these little bases. You can still go out and buy some safety candles. You could simply put them in a coffee mug, a glass bowl, even something as simple as a ramekin. I'll demonstrate how easy it is to do something like that. Take your candle. We're going to want to melt some wax into the bottom. Now just stick your candle into the wax and hold it still until it solidifies. Just like that. You have a candle that you can bring wherever you need. Put it out, relight it, that's simple. Pick yourself up some safety candles if you don't already have some in your house. So, the number 5 item on our list to have before a power outage, and this is if you want to be the utmost level of prepared, is to have a generator. You can pick up a cheap generator, well, cheap, a couple $100 from Harbor Freight or Home Depot, and it will be perfect to power up your fridge and possibly even your water pumps during a power outage to keep your pipes from freezing and to keep your food from going bad. Depending on your generator, though, the sky's the limit. If you have a big enough generator, you could just plug your house directly into the generator and power your entire house, even though there's no power on the grid. Definitely more of like an expert level power outage prep, but if you have it in your budget, a generator is definitely worth the investment. Don't be nervous to buy a generator just because you're not expecting a power outage. There's plenty of other uses for a generator. You could use it in off-grid camping, or you could even rent it out to contractors in your area that might need power on a job site that doesn't have it already. So that's 5 things to do before a power outage comes to be prepared for a power outage. And if you got 4 out of 5 of those, then you should be in pretty good shape, as long as the one you're missing isn't food and water. But it's too late. The power outage is already here. You're scared. You're cold. You don't know what to do. Now we're going to cover 5 things to do during a power outage, assuming that you didn't prepare at all. The first thing you're going to want to do when you lose power, assuming you already have light, you're watching this on your phone, so you at least have your phone flashlight, right? So what you're going to do is go ahead and download your local police scanner or local weather scanner. What this is going to do is going to give you direct access to local law enforcement chatter that's coming in, which may give you some insight into what caused the emergency or when the emergency is going to be resolved.
I was able to confirm no structure involved. 36390, copy.
This is going to be important in limiting confusion and helping you to remain calm because you fully understand the situation at hand. The second thing to do during a power outage, or rather not to do, is don't open your fridge. The food in your fridge should stay good for about 2 to 3 days, even with no power. So keeping the fridge closed is going to keep that cold air trapped and just further extend the shelf life of the food in there. If you absolutely need to open the fridge, be as quick as you can about it and try to think about what you need out of the fridge before you go into it to help reduce the time that you're spent rummaging around in there. Now, if the power's out, your pumps won't be running, so you won't be able to use things like the shower or the bathroom sink. However, your water lines will still have some pressure built up in them. So in the event that you forgot to prepare and you don't have water, you can run your faucet and make sure you collect this water, and you should be able to get at least a couple gallons of drinking water out of your pipes. The third thing you can do is if you have a wood stove, you can go ahead and use that for heat, light, and as a nice cooktop. Let's see how this toaster strudel came out. Ooh, nice and warm. I have the icing. I just wanted to rip it open to make sure it was hot inside, and it is steaming. Right off the wood stove too, with just this piece of foil. Alright, we're gonna try to film this as best we can with my headlamp as a light, but put some icing on it. Ooh.
He's trying to bite my ball.
Got some chicken going in the Dutch oven.
They do.
Potatoes. Ooh. Brussels sprouts are done.
Well, too late now.
Why is there candy canes when it's not Christmas?
Delicious.
No, I bought 2 of them for me.
This one's Jennifer's.
Sorry for the weird angle.
They're both
Got the headlamp on. Don't want to blind you guys.
They were expensive.
Brussels sprouts are delicious.
They were expensive, but I wanted, that was my stuff.
It was her stuff. You can use them.
I mean
but
asparagus.
you cannot keep them.
Not today.
Not today. Because Jennifer's.
We're gonna add some chicken broth so it doesn't burn in the bottom of the pan.
Wait, look at it. Look. He did it. Look. Yay!
Another top.
Where do I put this? Yeah, oh, there's a visitor. He's wondering how did she make that.
Oh, nice. She watches YouTube videos
And
and
look.
how to draw.
See? Look, she.
Very nice.
There's
Perfect.
obviously now more people. She couldn't put thing. Okay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You should make more art. So you'll know about.
You see? Look at that. Cooking like the Amish.
And don't worry, if you don't have a wood stove equipped in your house, I'm going to show you guys another tip at the end of this video that will still help you guys in an emergency. So stay tuned. The fourth thing that you can do during a power outage to stay safe and remain calm kind of depends on the area you're in. But where I'm in Northeast, if we lose power in the middle of winter, it's going to get pretty cold in our house. So make sure you have sweatshirts, jackets, and even some blankets handy to stay warm even if your heat isn't turning on. My last tip on things to do during a power outage pertains to all of my pet lovers out there. Now, although your dog has no issue seeing in the dark, it might be hard for you to see it in the dark. So I recommend getting a collar like this that has a reflective on it, and that will make it much easier to find your dog in the dark. Make sure you keep a close eye on any of your pets when you let them out. You don't know what kind of emergencies could be going on around you, and you don't want them to wander off and get caught in some sort of danger. But what if you have other pets besides dogs? I also have these fish, and when the power goes out, they lose their aeration and they lose their heat. Luckily, both of those problems have the same solution. Simply adding fresh water gives them oxygen, and if I need to bring the temperature of the tank up, I can put hot water in. Now, I did say I had something for everyone that didn't have a wood stove at home, and here it is. We have 3 options that each have their own strengths and weaknesses. I'll explain that quickly here. Our first option is the buddy heater. Now, the buddy heater is perfect because it provides heat and it provides something you can cook off of. If you simply take this grate off, and flip it around like this, you could set a pan here, you could cook some bacon here, you could heat up a can of soup here, no problem. Next, we have a Coleman propane lantern. Mine's broken, I need to replace the wicks, but these are perfect because they will light up your entire house, and since they're propane lanterns, they also produce a considerable amount of heat, especially in an enclosed area. We primarily use these for river fishing at night when we go fishing all night, and there's always people standing near this to warm up a little bit. Now, all of these items are great, but if you could only pick one, I would go ahead and choose this propane burner. This is perfect because it's going to provide you with heat and it's going to provide you with something to cook with. The lantern provides heat and light. The buddy heater provides heat and something to cook with, but not very much light. This produces less heat than the buddy heater, but it is a much more efficient cooking surface. These little propane burners are also a much cheaper option than something like the buddy heater or even this lantern. And this lantern takes maintenance. You have to replace these little wicks, so that can get tedious. I think the buddy heaters are around $80 if I remember correctly, and I think they sell a bigger one for $150. This little burner here is $15. The tank, $5. They come even cheaper. This little burner right here, $7. That's all it is. You have a nice little torch, cook whatever you need. Adjustable. So, $7, less than $20 altogether, less than $30 altogether, and then they even go as big as this, which is a dual burner, still hooks up to a regular small propane tank like that. You could put 2 pans on here, cook a full dinner, full breakfast, everything. Potatoes, hash browns, that's the same thing. Bacon, eggs. Sky's the limit. Hey guys, I forgot to throw this little disclaimer into the video, so I wanted to throw it in now while I was editing. Anytime you're running anything that runs off of propane, make sure you do so in a well-ventilated area. You can run them in an enclosed area, but only for a very short period of time. There is a high risk of carbon monoxide poisoning if you run them for too long in a confined area without ventilating any of the fumes. So that was 10 ways that you could prepare for the next power outage. Hope you guys learned something. If there's anything that I forgot, or if there's anything that you think deserves to be on the list that wasn't on the list, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. Also, drop me a comment with the story of the craziest power outage you ever experienced and how you handled it. As always, thanks for tuning in to Tyler Larson 24/7. Make sure you smash that like button. You can click right here to subscribe to my channel. And right here is a video that YouTube thinks you'll like, recommended from my channel.